Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and I'm so excited that you've joined me today. For today's video, we are going to be discussing all of the books that I want to read in the month of January, which just so happens to also be my birthday month. On the 5th of January, I'm going to be 26 years old. No, in all reality, I am thankful to the Lord for giving me another year and another year older, because I know a lot of people don't get that opportunity. So we're going to be thankful for any age that we get to. A big goal of mine this year is to actually slow down my reading, which is kind of funny. The fact that I'm sitting here talking to you about all of the 30,000 books that I'm going to read in January, but I really do want to slow down. I really do want to slow down and really enjoy the books that I'm currently reading and not feel like I have to get to a certain number or get discouraged if I don't reach that number. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about all the books that I'm going to try and get to in January. There's a lot happening in January. I am actually hosting a readathon in celebration of my birthday with Comfy Cozy Book Club, which if you don't know, that is my book club that I host. And we are celebrating all things cozy over there for the first week of January. And when you're seeing this, it will already be over. I'm sorry. But I'm also participating in a very fun game that my friend Gwen created for her Patreon, and it's Clue. I'm not going to share any kind of prompts or anything like that because that is exclusive to her Patreon. So if you have not joined Gwen's Patreon, highly recommend you do that because she works so incredibly hard on everything she puts forth. But I'm so excited to be participating in that. So most of these books are going to be possibilities for that game. First and foremost though, let's talk about the books that I have to read in the month of January. This one is kind of a stretch because I do not necessarily have to read this in January, but I do want to start it in January, and that is Little Women by Louise May Alcott. Yes, you're looking at a woman who has never read this book. With my book club, Comfy Cozy, we do unofficial buddy reads where we just kind of chat in the Discord about the books we're reading. And we are going to buddy read Little Women in the months of the winter. And I'm so excited to kind of take my time with this, but also like understand what everybody's talking about when they talk about this book. Because I have no idea right now. So like I said, I'm going to really take my time with it and just kind of start it in January and see where it goes. The next book I'm going to pick up in January is actually one that I have already started, and that is Pearl in the Sand by Tessa Afshar. This is for my friend Keisha's Christian book club called Revive, and this is their January pick. This story is following Rahab, the harlot from the Bible, and I'm so utterly excited to read this story because the story of Rahab and the redemption that comes through her story is one of my favorite things in the Bible. So I'm excited to see how I like this one. Next is a buddy read that I'm going to be doing with my friends Keisha from A Book Like You and Jordan from Jordan Elaine. And that is The Silent Woods, and this is by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. I think this is a Christian suspense novel. I've heard really, really good things about this one. All I know about this one is that it's about a man and his daughter, and they have lived in isolation for many years. And his daughter starts asking questions. So I don't necessarily think this is like a murder mystery or anything. I just think it's more of a suspense, thrillery, heart-pounding plot. I'm excited to read this with Keisha and Jordan, and hopefully we all love it. Speaking of buddy reads, this is also another unofficial buddy read with my book club Comfy Cozy, and that is Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chin. In 2024, my book club unofficially buddy read another cozy mystery series, and that series is really going to be hard to beat. It was the Seaside Cafe Mystery Series by Bree Baker, and this one I just fear there's no chance that it could ever come close, but I asked my book club if they wanted to unofficially buddy read another cozy series, and they said yes, and they chose this one. I actually have already read book one. I think though that I may re-listen to it just so that I can jog my memory about what it's about. This is also a possibility, but I also need to, so I'm putting it in the pile. The last two books that I absolutely have to get to are also from my friend Gwen's Patreon, and she is doing a read-along of the Anne of Green Gables series. And if you have been around for any amount of time, then you know that Anne of Green Gables is actually my favorite book of all time. That is the book that got me back into reading. It ignited my love for reading, and so that book means so incredibly much to me. So I'm putting Anne of Green Gables on my January TBR. I have actually already listened to like 60% of this book because I really wanted to dive back into that world and dive back into those characters' lives. And I am so glad that I did, because it means much more to me now than it did then, because I know how beautiful the story is. This is on my TBR, but just know that I'm almost finished with my re-listen. And so the last book that I have to get to is Gwen's Patreon book club pick for January, and that is Peter Pan. I have heard very mixed things about the actual book of Peter Pan, and I'm really kind of worried because I love the story of Peter Pan. I've read many reimaginings of Peter Pan. I'm crossing my fingers I like this one. Okay, as I said before, I am participating in the Clue game that Gwen has created, and for that you have to have a lot of possibilities. You also have to have a list of adult possibilities. They cannot be anything other than adult fiction, and so it's kind of tough for someone who reads a little bit of everything. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do like a rapid fire of all of the possibilities that I have on my TBR that I would like to get to, that I'm probably going to look towards when I need them for Clue. I hope that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure if that makes sense. Now, not all of these are going to be for Clue because I think that there's a couple YA on here, but just know that if I'm going super fast with them, I'm just putting them on here so that I have options. This first one is not for Clue because it's YA, and that is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. At least I think this is YA. All I know about this one is that the cover pretty much tells you what it's about. It's about these people that are stranded in this snowstorm at this abandoned hunting cabin, and people start dying. And I love Darcy Coates, so I'm hoping she doesn't let me down for this one. Next possibility is Garden of the Midnights by Hannah Linder. This would be my first book by Hannah Linder, and all I know about this one is that it's a Regency historical romance that has a Christian twist. All of those things sound very good to me, so I'm going to try it and see. The next possibility that I have is The Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina. Sherry Lapina has been a very mid author for me, but she's been also an auto-buy for me. So this is one of her backlist that I have not read yet, and this just so happens to be a winter thriller. This one takes place at an inn, and again, there's a snowstorm and people get trapped inside and then people start dying. So do we sense a theme here? The next book I would like to get to in January is The Final Gambit, and this is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yes, I have indeed read books 1 and 2. I literally devoured book 2 in like a day. This is book number 3 of the Inheritance Games series, and I don't love the Inheritance Games as much as the Natural series, but this is a close second. I just think Jennifer Lynn Barnes does so well at keeping you entertained with this whole game plot and this puzzle solving mystery. I am just here for this. This is actually a book that is on the chopping block, and if I don't read it in January, I fear that it's time to go. And that is Dead in Gondola by Anne Clare. I have tried multiple times to pick this book up and DNF it or put it down every single time, but it seems to have the perfect setting. I love books that take place in the snow in the winter, and this just sounds like a really cozy mystery to me. Again, it's on the chopping block. If it doesn't cut it, you're out. The next possibility I have is another cozy mystery, and that is Get Away with Murder, and this is by Diane Kelly. This book catches my eye every time I see it on my shelf, and it just looks like the perfect winter read. I just love this cute little cover. This is about our main character, Misty, who opens up an inn in the Blue Ridge Mountains, which are not too far away from me. And she's trying to get this inn off of the ground, and everything seems to be going okay. And then the yoga instructor ends up dead. So that's probably going to put a damper on things. Another possibility that I have for Clue, and this is going to make some of you laugh, and that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I actually read this book in high school as part of my English class, and I remember absolutely adoring it. And I think we even ended up watching the movie, and I love the movie. If you've never seen that movie, oh my gosh, you need to watch that. And I feel like I don't remember much about the book. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same story, obviously, but I don't remember much about the book. And plus, This is a very short read and will do me great favors in the game of Clue. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm the only person on the internet that's not read this. I am going to try to read Fourth Wing in January. Now, I don't know how that's gonna go. I really don't. For anybody who has stuck around for at least a little bit, 5 minutes, I do not love fantasy, but I have loved some fantasy. Just, it's not my go-to genre, and I really do hesitate going into the genre. And this is a full-on adult fantasy, so I'm really worried and anxious, but I'm also really excited because I'm hoping that I love this as much as everybody else. Another book that I want to get to in the month of January is Beg, Borrowed, or Steal by Sarah Adams. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get this book in my hands. And January 7th, I'm going to be at the bookstore buying this book. So do not need me that day. If you need me, don't. This is book number 3 of the When in Rome series. The first book is When in Rome, and second book is Practice Makes Perfect. Absolutely loved both of those books. And this is the next sister and her perspective. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because both of these characters are second grade teachers and they're enemies to lovers. I do have to point out that Sarah Adams came out and said that there is an open door scene in here. But I will say, there was also an open door scene in the rule book that she came out with. Loved that book, by the way. And I need you to know that Sarah Adams is a very PG-13 writer. And so if you go into that knowing that, she's very minimal, like it's nothing super graphic, just know it's gonna be more tame. So I am so excited. I am so excited to get my hands on this book. The next book that I'm going to read in January, probably more than likely, is The Crash by Frida McFadden. Yes, guys, I am a Frida McFadden stan. I just enjoy her books, okay? I know that there's a lot of controversy and a lot of opinions about Frida McFadden, but here on my channel, we read Frida McFadden. Her books are just great palette cleansers, and they're books that I know without a doubt that I'm going to get through very quickly. And they're just really fun. Like, I really enjoy her twists, and I really enjoy the way her mind works. So we listen and we don't judge, okay? I'm going to be reading The Crash in January. I think this is the last one. I feel like I'm forgetting something. So if I have forgotten a book that I'm supposed to be reading, just know that I'm probably going to read it. I just haven't forgotten it. The last book that I'm going to talk to you about is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. If you've been around for any amount of time also, then you know that Alice Feeney is one of my favorite thriller writers. Daisy Darker cannot be topped, I fear. And I don't know why I continue to pick up Alice Feeney because I just don't think that that book can be topped. I love that book so much, but she has become an auto-buy author for me. I will buy anything and everything that she writes, and I just don't know anything about this one. So let's read it together. Author Grady Green is having the worst, best day of his life. He calls his wife, Abby, to share some exciting news as she is driving home. He hears Abby slam on the brakes when she sees something in the road ahead. Over Grady's protest, Abby gets out of the car. When he eventually finds her car by the cliff, the headlights are on, the door is open, her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. Alice Feeney, don't let me down. That was a lot of books, and I literally just told you at the beginning of this video that I was going to slow down. Maybe in February? Guys, I just love reading so much, and there's so many books and just so little time to read them in. All right, my friends, that is all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and if you made it this far into the video, please let me know one book that is on your January TBR. I would love to know. And if you also made it this far into the video, leave me a little snowflake emoji, because I really, really want it to snow. And if Tennessee weather can't cooperate with that, then we can at least fill my comments section with snow. All right, lovelies, until next time, just remember this world is a better place with you in it, and I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.